Hello, 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 and welcome to Bub's World. This is your host, Bub. We're gonna do another far too late, far too long behaul comic no vinyl haul. All right, we're gonna throw some vinyl at you tonight. We're gonna do a quick vinyl haul and chat, but it's a big haul, so let's see how far we get. Chris Barrett's in the house. Thank you for joining, and anybody who's on there, glad you could make it. Thumbnail wasn't working. I guess my thumbnail was too big, so I'll get that fixed. For the replayer watchers, you'll never know. All right, a lot of different sources on this one. We've got some. I just got back from a trip down to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and they have a vinyl shop there. Actually, it's like various media. They have some movies and CDs and stuff like that, and they had of course vinyl records. And what was nice about it was that they're actually all new. So this is the first time I've been to a strictly new vinyl shop. So I've been to shops that were strictly old vinyl and every other shop has mixed new and old, but this shop was all new, brand new vinyl. And I thought that approach was quite interesting. Because I don't know what the margins would be on that. I mean, Walmart's selling brand new vinyl, Target's selling brand new vinyl. So, where's the market for brand new vinyl? Because used vinyl I know is there because you can pick up a lot of stuff. It's easier to carry a large collection because people are always trying to sell that kind of stuff. So you can kind of grow the shop. But a brand new, all new, and when I say new, I mean like shrink wrap, the whole routine, nothing but racks of it. If you found one copy, you'd probably find 5 or 6 copies. I mean, it wasn't like very random. It was like they were purchasing in bulk these vinyl records brand new. So it was very interesting. So what I found was, there's Chris Barrett saying brand new vinyl is way too expensive. I mean, it is expensive. I have to say though, it sounds better. Now, if you have, the right system, I'm sure, and if you have a very well-maintained record from back in the day, that's all good and well. But if you're a bargain shopper already, if you're already saying new vinyl is too expensive, then you're probably not paying the price for mint condition old vinyl. So old vinyl is really high. Like old vinyl is way more expensive than new vinyl if you're getting it in the same condition that new vinyl is. So if you're shopping condition and you're trying to get the best sound quality out of all of it, new vinyl is cheaper than original, vintage, if you will, old vinyl. So that's my short take on it. So on occasion, if it's my favorite album or if it's an album that I remember from when I was a kid and I was like, man, I really love that album, I like to have it on vinyl. Maybe I had it as a CD or a tape back in the day and I want it on vinyl. So that's kind of where I pick up my new vinyl. Or for compilations, like new albums that come out as greatest hits, I'm like, well, that works out for me too. Hey Christina, how's it going? Good to see you. So that's what so first, right off the bat, maybe Christina will like this one. I have a bet that Chris Barrett's not going to like it. Here's old Bill, Comic Mag Musings. Good to see you. But this one I actually bought for my wife because even though I love it too, but she's a bigger fan than me probably. And but I really enjoyed the album. And that's Taylor Swift 1989. And we picked this up at Gatlinburg. Really cool gatefold. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was way cool. And the rest of the top of that picture. So nice presentation. Double LP, but it only has 13 songs on it. So you would think they probably could have fit quite a bit of that. What's up, Cap? Harry, hey, what's going on? Any old K-Tales? No K-Tales today. All right, so let's see. Chris Barrett says, I'm willing to pay $40 for a clap album that has good music. When Cardi B has a $40 vinyl, that's a no. I understand that. And that's how I am. I'm not buying anything brand new for $40 unless it's something I already know I'm going to love. What makes you think I wouldn't like Taylor Swift? I don't know. Just throwing that out there. But I think Taylor Swift is great. I don't really go for any of the earlier albums than this, which are more the country kind of whatever crap. This is where she starts her kind of synth pop and gets into dance music. So this is better than the stuff before that for my taste. And what's funny is that there's a song on here, number 2, called Blank Space. This one had like 7 hit singles off of it too. So more than half the album was on the radio. So that's really nice. So second song on here is Blank Space. And what's funny about that is that if you look at these records, there is a ton of blank space. So take a look at that. So if you know what you're looking for, this whole area right here should be filled with grooves, and it's not. Check out the back. Look at that huge gap. That's blank space. So if you guys ever buy this album, be prepared that Blank Space is not just a song title, but also represents the bulk of these 4. There's 2 albums, so that'd be 4 sides, and each side only has 3 songs on it, save for maybe the last. I think it might have 4. So it's like, holy cow. Really get. So what happens when an artist does that, and I said the Black Keys do that also, is that have an album. So what happens is that you end up having to stand like next to the record player while you play this, because if you wander away for more than 13 minutes, you're going to have to come back to flip the record. So it's like, it's a little frustrating, but the sound quality is absolutely fantastic. And I picked this up also as a, I say a spec, but so there was some problems with the music label, and basically bottom line is that she's no longer with the company that owns the rights to the masters to this album and the ones prior to it, and a couple, maybe 1 or 2 after this one. So because she no longer owns the rights to those albums, or to the masters of those albums, all the reproductions of those albums have been coming out with her re-singing those old songs and reproducing them completely with new masters. So that's kind of weird. I haven't heard any of the redone stuff, but I figure if I come across an original album, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up, because I know they're probably not going to kick out too many of those, or it's going to be a more sought after than her Taylor version, is what she's been calling them, of this album, or, the others to follow. So pick this up. If I see any of those, I'm going to keep grabbing those for the ones that I like. This album, I loved this one as a kid. I guess I was a little older, but still. And I'm kind of bummed that I remembered after I got it that they had changed the album cover to this one, because there was some controversy. But here is Aerosmith's 9 Lives on double LP set. And this, hey, what's going on, Ranger Sly? This really is a double LP worthy album, because this already was one of their longest albums ever at like 60 something minutes. So this is over an hour of music. So you need 2 LPs for that. And they went ahead and threw in 2 extra songs on top of it. One of them I wish they hadn't thrown in, and another one I'm glad they did. So, yep. So what happened with this one was that originally the album cover was something else. It was like a cat, because the whole thing's cat themed, right? 9 Lives. So it was like a cat standing amongst a bunch of tentacles, maybe, and like willing them up. And the whole thing has a distinct kind of centaur sound and a little bit of a Hindu vibe to it. And so they got in trouble for that album cover because they said it too closely resembled a deity. I think a Hindu deity, if memory serves. So I remember that, yeah, it was snakes. Okay. So I remember that when that album came out, I had the original CD of it, and it has the original cover. So I was glad to have that. And then when I saw later pressing, or I don't know what you call a CD, but later copies of that album, they had this cover on it instead. And that imagery is nowhere to be found inside in the liner notes, nothing like that. So I was kind of bummed that the reissue of this didn't go back to the original cover, but you can't really expect them to do that. Standard black. So unfortunately didn't get any color on this stuff. Kind of wish that I had, but I think if they're going to reissue it, they're probably not going to. It's got some great artwork in there. They're probably not going to reissue with a lot of colored vinyl on this stuff, because the music kind of stands on its own, and they already did a good job. They added. I didn't go through the songs on the Taylor Swift album. We're probably not going through songs tonight because I got way too many to do. But I will note some of the key ones for me. And so this one, Falling in Love is Harder Than These is great. It opens with that, and it's just fantastic. 9 Lives and then Falling in Love is Harder Than These, so good. Hole in My Soul is good. Full Circle is good. Ain't That a Bitch, probably maybe my favorite of the newer um, Aerosmith stuff. The Farm, Crash, Kiss Your Past Goodbye is great. Pink, that got some radio play. And then there's this added song called Falling Off. And here's what made me mad is that they kind of show all the songs here, and they put one of the extra songs to fill what I assume would have been blank space on the on one of the sides. But the problem with that is that it interrupts the album, because the album in my mind and my memory already sounded perfect. It didn't need an extra song thrown in there, and it really isn't, because this album has a sound, it has an instrumental fabric, and it really gets cut and interrupted by this added song that's not, they should have tacked it on at the end. I don't care what you put in on at the end, but they shouldn't have put it in the middle of the album. I didn't appreciate that. And I'm sure it could have been worked around. Then Attitude Adjustment, Fallen Angels is good. And then they threw in I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, which doesn't match with the rest of this album in any way whatsoever, but it's nice to get it, you know? So when you get that, I think because that was on the soundtrack only to Armageddon, the Armageddon movie, and also I think it was on Big Ones, the compilation, the Aerosmith compilation album as well. But you know, to get it just randomly on here is awesome, because I'll probably never buy the compilation album. I'd rather pick up some more of these, you know. So there you go, 9 Lives, one of my favorite albums as a kid. So I don't know, kid, I was a little older, I'm sure, but still, I love that. I had that, played that on loop. All right, what do we got? Jake the Snake is the real champ. Yep. All right, the Hindu community said that it looked too much like Lord Krishna. Okay. Dancing on the head of a snake, demon Kalia. All right, we're gonna take that as canon. We don't know, but we're gonna trust Chris on that one. I'm with you. Circular the start. Yeah, I know. That's true. Yeah, but it doesn't work that way. All right. So let's see. Next, this one was huge, you guys. I did a pre-order, and I do pre-orders from time to time, but I had never done like a direct fan club pre-order. It really, okay. Appreciate that. I'd never done a direct fan order, but I had heard that the Black Keys were issuing El Camino, and they were going to be adding a few things with it. And I said, that all sounds great, but for the high price of new records, as we talked about, I want to get something extra special. So I saw that if you were a fan of their site or whatever, then you could, we'll store the record in its cover. I hear that. Yeah. Sometimes people don't. Actually, a lot of times they'll put it behind it in the sleeve. And so I've heard that. I don't know. I'm torn on that. For my used records that already have that wear circle on it, then I'm okay with storing them in the jacket. It doesn't really bother me. For the newer stuff, I do struggle with it a little bit. So what I do is that I put them in master sleeves, and then that adds a little extra padding, very little. I know that that's not enough for a lot of people. So cracks the spine. Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, spines. But you know, for used vinyl of the quality I've been picking up some of, it definitely is not an issue. But yes, cracks the spine. Yeah, that's true too. All right, so this one, speaking of crack spine, this one is a nightmare. This one's an absolute nightmare. If there was ever one that you really didn't want to store inside, it'd probably be this one. So you have this, it opens up. This is a trifold. This one is terrible. All right, let's go ahead and let that slide out. All right, look at this, you guys. It's a trifold, and all three sides are pass-throughs. So if you open it up, the record can come out of this side or that side. So there's basically, you have to like be standing sitting at a table to get these to come out properly. And then here's a peek at the Snow White is what they're calling it, color for these vinyls. And this was only available to fans, if you will, of the Black Keys through their website. And it had came with this lithograph, they said, which is, not, it's just the original album cover. So it is what it is. But also it comes with the original album and then live in some Ohio show as well. Live in Portland. I'm sorry. Live in Portland for 2 more discs. So pretty good. Of course, the original El Camino album, fantastic. Great stuff. Some REO Speedwagon. Don't worry. I'm sure I'll have something to make you happy. So let's see. One of the things is that in a novel. Yes, it's very wordy, but it's like a 10th anniversary collector's edition. And I think it was limited to 7,500 copies to get it in this version, in this deluxe edition, limited edition, deluxe edition, anniversary edition, trifold. It's a mouthful. I wish that they had put the original El Camino cover, this one. So that's the original cover. I wish that they had left that as the main cover, but instead they put this like ugly El Camino cover, which of course is not even an El Camino. It's just a stupid van. But it's very ugly. And I like the original one better. So I wish they hadn't done that. So there you go. But very cool. Glad to have it. I paid a little more. I probably paid about a $20 premium or so just to get the colored vinyl version, basically. So, and to get the limited factor, which, is what it is. All right. So there's somebody in the chat who's always fussing at me for not picking up this particular band. So I was at Walmart. It was on sale. And I said, you know what? I'll go ahead and get it. And it was in custard yellow vinyl. So I couldn't pass that up. But it is The Who Icon, which is just a compilation album. Look at that. It is me, he says. Well, we'll see about that. Is it you that's always asking for The Who? There you go. The Who Icon. Look at that custard yellow. Isn't that beautiful? That's crazy looking. I love it. So very pleased with that. Check that out. And there's the back. And let's go ahead. Thank you, Joey. Let's go ahead and we'll read off some of the songs on this because it's just that good. I couldn't believe that there were that many good songs, not necessarily by The Who, but that there were that many good songs on this one album that they were able to get them, squeeze them all in there. So side one, I Can't Explain. Anyway, Anyhow, Anywhere, which is a bonus track, whatever that's supposed to mean. My Generation. Let's see. We'll skip a few. I Can See for Miles, Magic Bus, Pinball Wizard, Behind Blue Eyes, which is just amazing. Won't Get Fooled Again, and Bob O'Reilly, Joined Together, Squeeze Box, and Who Are You? So just, yes, hideous cover, but they're all hideous. Like most of the Who covers are ugly. But loving that custard yellow. It's so creamy goodness right there with the custard yellow. Check that out. All right. So there's the win on that. Glad I made somebody happy. Whoever was it that was the big Who fan kept telling me to pick up some Who. Now here's one that I purchased online. I showed it on Instagram and I was very happy to get it. But when I got it, it's totally warped, almost completely unplayable. There's only about, 3 songs on the whole album that I could even listen to because it was so bad. But anyway, that's what I call vintage by Postmodern Jukebox. And really, really like this one. Wish I could hear it all. But I got it on sale at their site. And tomorrow, probably, if I get my stuff together, I'll go ahead and ship this back to them for, I hope, a replacement. I'm not going for a refund. I'm just going to try and get a replacement. So we'll see. Who by the number of this album cover. Yeah. And the Who Sells Out looks pretty good too. I like that one. That one's at least funny. So yeah. So there you go. So Postmodern Jukebox, if you guys don't know, is basically they call it today's hits yesterday. So they take modern songs and they give them kind of anywhere from a 50s, from a 20s to 50s flair to them in performance, and play them in a band setting. And it's fun. It's just kind of fun music, if you will. When I'm in a lighthearted, goofy mood, I'll put something like that on and really enjoy some of it. So, all right. Now we went to one of my favorite record shops in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and this is a couple of weeks ago. So I'm a little bit behind on this one. But here is the very best of Roy Orbison with Only the Lonely, Crying, which is just amazing. It's Over, Candyman, Pretty Woman, Blue Angel, In Dreams, Dream Baby, and a Mean Woman Blues. Man, this thing is rocking. I mean, this album is just so good. It just defies expectation. If you don't know about Roy Orbison, find out about Roy Orbison. That's what I have to tell you about that. It's just amazingly good. Then I picked up Rod Stewart, because if you like one Rod Stewart album, you'll probably like them all. So here's Rod Stewart, A Night on the Town. And here is the, I don't know which is worse. I don't know which cover is worse, but they're both pretty bad. So there you go. Absolutely not, man. He's got much better stuff than just Pretty Woman. So Rod Stewart, Nine Town. Key ones from this are Tonight's the Night, First Cut is the Deepest. Let's see, Killing of Georgie, parts 1 and 2, of course. And then let's see, Trade Winds, I guess. Probably the hits off that album. Good stuff there. And then you guys know, big ELO fan. So I picked up ELO Face the Music with this kind of horror themed cover here. You see, woo, spooky. And of course, big one off this was Evil Woman and Strange Magic. Those are probably the two biggest songs off this one, but the whole album is pretty good, except it's got a little bit of that, horror, scary kind of stuff. It's you can just skip it. It's at the first part of one of the sides. You just drop over a little bit and it goes right through. So not too bad. Let's see. President Rod Stewart looks somewhat normal on that cover. I must address him in that. Yeah, Witch Wife. So one of his 14 wives through time. You guys got a sneak peek. Chicago 17. The best Chicago album in my opinion. And the only one that will probably make it into my collection. There's only a few songs that I like of theirs that's not on this album. So I probably won't bother to pick up another one. Let's see. It says Stay the Night. We Can't Stop the Hurtin', which is a little bit grandiose, but we can get over it. Hard Habit to Break is good. Only You, Remember the Feeling. Along Comes a Woman. You're the Inspiration. Please Hold On. Prima Donna and Once in a Lifetime. So a lot of love and love lost with Chicago on this album. Very, very good. Classic album. Great stuff. Speaking of love and love lost, we got the Little River Band with probably biggest ones on here are Lonesome Loser and let's see, maybe Man on the Run. So, and Cool Change. That's another big one off this one. So there you go. Little River Band with First Under the Wire. Good stuff. All right, let's take a look. You guys know I'm a big Stones fan, as you'll see throughout this little episode here. So here's Big Hits, High Tides and Green Grass by the Rolling Stones. This is a compilation album. For these, when I'm a big fan of the Stones, so as I go through, when I see these compilation albums, I kind of can't help myself, and I still pick them up. So there's some cool stuff there. Look at that. And this is some of the earlier stuff. So sometimes you get to hear songs that don't make it into later compilations. And of course, getting the originals is always great, but it's nice to have this kind of pre-mixed for you to just drop it in and play. And this one, let's see, they always hide. And I already had the companion to this one, the number 2 or whatever, or this is the number 2. Yeah. And I don't know where the track listing is on this. I forget. I can't find it. But great songs on this, I promise. Trust me. All right, let's see if I can find it. Yes, okay. So this has got Satisfaction. Let's see. Time Is on My Side. It's all over now. Just hitting some of the highlights. And this one is 19th Nervous Breakdown, Heart of Stone, Get Off My Cloud, Not Fade Away, and Play with Fire, and some other hits as well. So good stuff on that. Loving the Rolling Stones. Hope y'all love it too. Hey, Gore Vidal, good to have you here. Seeing Blue Velvet also separate his music from Lynch's film. Fair enough. This next one, I had already bought several of those others, or was at checkout, and then this was one that had just came in. That, you know, always check whenever you go to a vinyl shop, check to see their new entries first, because those are the ones that haven't been picked through so much. So if they have a crate or something by the register, that's usually ones that they've either just priced or about to price, and they'll let you look through them. So they had this one there, and I couldn't believe it. It was in absolute fantastic condition, and I absolutely love this album, and my wife likes it as well because I like it so well. And a couple of songs, you know, when you're sending over a little mixtape for your lady to be, and you want to get in their head and they're listening to some music. I pulled a couple of songs off this one, and she is forever a fan because of it. So that worked out. So we have BB King and Eric Clapton, Riding with the King. Just a great, you know, Twilight, if you will, blues album. Great photos and stuff in there. This one's another double LP, but it fills them up, so we appreciate that. And there's the back. And let's see if we're able to go through these. So I don't know. It's hard because I know all these songs, so you guys may or may not know them. But Riding with the King, probably the biggest one off this one. And then I Want to Be is pretty good. And Marry You is one of the songs I sent to her. And then Come Rain or Come Shine, which is the last song on the album. And it's absolutely perfect. So great stuff. Super excited to get this album. I couldn't believe when I saw it there. It wasn't cheap, but it was worth it. So that's how it goes. So, I'll show this next set. So a different day, we went back to that same shop about a week later, and I picked up a few more. And here is Bryan Adams' Reckless. It was funny because the owner of the shop wasn't there, but maybe his wife, I guess, was, or his woman. So she was always saying, "Oh, when he's not here, that's the kind of music I would play." I was like, "All right, well, let's hear it." So big one on this one is probably Run to You, Heaven, Somebody, Summer of '69, Kids Wanna Rock, and that's probably the biggest ones on this one. And it's only Love, and that's all. So there you go. Bryan Adams' Reckless, good stuff. And then they had this one here. It's not as good as Reckless, but it's good enough. Bryan Adams' Cuts Like a Knife, with probably Cuts Like a Knife and Straight from the Heart being the big ones off this one. So good album there. And then they were playing this one, and it was the Eagles' Greatest Hits Volume 2. And she put it on to, actually she put it on to play. And I said, "Did you just pull that out of your recent acquisition?" She said, "Yes." I said, "I'll take it." So I was on like $5. It's got Hotel California, Heartache Tonight, Seven Bridges Road, Victim of Love, Sad Cafe, Life in the Fast Lane, I Can't Tell You Why, New Kid in Town, The Long Run, and After the Thrill Is Gone. So good stuff. Fantastic album. Had a scratch on it, and she played it and it skipped. And it was only on one song, but it was on Hotel California. And so she knocked $1 off. I took it anyway. And when I played it at home after a cleaning, no skip. So there's a win. Hey, Ty Likes the Mighty. Good to have you. Thank you. Let's see. High Infidelity. Yeah, I believe it. So then this was there. I couldn't help myself. I saw it on the wall. Honestly, I don't know. It was more expensive than I wanted to pay for this album. But if I try and buy it online, it's double that. So it's like, what do you do? You know, one of the, you think that Who cover is ugly. Wait till you get a hold of this cover. That it doesn't get any uglier than that. My wife just hated it. But I bought it anyway because it's Pink Floyd metal. and I'm a decent enough Pink Floyd fan. I have my favorite albums. This is among them. It's not all gold, and even on this album, it's not all great. But I enjoy it. This is about as kooky as I will allow Pink Floyd to get. They'll have some dogs howling and every now and then, some weird cricket noises and things going on. I can handle that. When you get to Adam Hart Mother and there's like 25 minutes of straight cows mooing, I can't do it. Like that's that's where I draw the line. So there's good Pink Floyd and there's absolutely terrible Pink Floyd, and this one has some great Pink Floyd on it, and then a couple of hints of what's to come in some of the other albums. So there you go. Yes. Well, I don't know. I don't want to look at an ear. I am a fan of Animals. I just don't like Adam Hart Mother. So I do like Animals. All right. So there you go. I paid too much for this. This was like the cost of new vinyl, but the album was itself, the jacket's in terrible shape. That was another thing. But the album itself was in really good shape. So kind of tried to, in my mind, I reasoned it was all good. What's up, Jamie? What's shaking, brother? Good to see you. All right. So this last batch is a batch that I picked up. There's a store in the mall in Bowling Green, and it had, I go there every time. So this is one of those, you never know until you keep trying kind of stories. So I go to this mall every time. There's a record store in there, mostly lesser known. Some of it's terrible. Wish You Were Here. Yeah, I already have Wish You Were Here though. So I had to pick up metal, and then next I feel like The Wall, Animals, and of course Dark Side of the Moon that to me that's Pink Floyd. Like I don't really need much after that. I would take the Division Bell if it was on sale, but after that I'm done. That's Pink Floyd collection, and I don't need anything before or after. So I go to the shop in the mall. They almost never have anything but new vinyl. They have a very, very small old vinyl collection, and all their new vinyl is like $5 or $10 higher than everywhere else that you could pick up new vinyl. I mean, I could walk into Target and Walmart, which is in that town, and pick up the exact same record that they have there for less and get like an exclusive colored version, all this stuff. So let's see. Yep. Oh, wait. Uh-oh. I have Atomic Heart Mother. Mine has a cow on it though. That's about right. Division has some solid songs. Yes. It's a great cover. And I remember when they first came out, remember when they came out on CD and they had like a red LED light in it. That was cool. Yeah, that's sorry, Jackson Roy Kirk. You can catch it on the rewind. We're not done. But anyway, so I went to this shop in the mall, and Jackson Roy Kirk, are you the one always asking for the Who? Tell me if you're the one that's always asking for the Who. Chris Barrett saying it was him, but I don't know. It might have been you. Anyway, this shop in the mall, terrible, overpriced. I still go every single time and hope for the best. And they must have picked up a collection because they had tons and tons of stuff in there. And oh, look at this. Yes, the Who. Is that who you? No, not me. Oh, all right. It must have been Chris Barrett then. I wasn't sure if he was taking credit. That they got tons and tons of new stuff, all priced well, rough conditioned jackets, but well conditioned actual albums. So the actual records were in good shape. Jackets were in rough shape. I dig that. All right. So first off, it's a Christmas thing to me, but it was in their soundtrack. Let's see. In the soundtrack section had Oliver, the musical, just an absolutely fantastic cast recording, and it's from the movie too, so it's not like because it was a play and stage and all that stuff. So this has the actual actors of the movie doing the singing, so it's absolutely great, lifted from the soundtrack of the movie. One of my favorite Christmassy type things, and just some great songs and singing on here. So it was funny, as I got this, I told my dad I had got it, and he couldn't believe it. He said he'd been looking for this forever, trying to find it. So I'll invite him over to listen to it sometime. There you go. And if I see another one, I'm supposed to pick it up but that's the first time I've ever seen it anywhere. So I'll keep my eyes out just in case. And every time you go to a used record store, you never find any Beatles or any Rolling Stones. And these guys had tons of both. They had their Beatles stuff fairly priced, but a little overpriced. But they had their Stones stuff, I think, cheap. So yeah, that's a good one. All right, what's going on, Count Von Strange? I was in your neck of the woods. Well, not really. It's a neck between our necks, hunting. So here is Rolling Stones Emotional Rescue. And this one, probably the hits on this would be Down in the Hole, for me, is one of my favorite songs on here. And Emotional Rescue, She's So Cold. And all those are good. And the whole album is absolutely fantastic. Can't go wrong with this one. It is super solid, super solid. And I got it for like $5. I couldn't believe it. They had their Stone stuff way underpriced. And like I said, some of the other stuff was properly priced. That's about right. Oh, I know. Always got to check. So this was a funny thing that happened. I picked this up. I took a chance on it. The actual, I mean, it's destroyed. Like you can't even hold it from underneath. But here is Rolling Stones Tattoo You, one of their best albums, hands down. Let's see. Oh, look, we have to read this because he's quite clever with it. I had a momentary lapse of reason when I said Division Bell. I actually meant a momentary lapse of reason was the last great Floyd cover. There you go. See what he did there? She's so cold. If you're in Nashville, I've not, but I will be in Nashville in sometime next year, first part of next year. No, I was in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So here you go. Tattoo You, fantastic album. You can read Start Me Up, Hang Fire, Slave, Little TNA, Black Limousine, Neighbors is funny. Worried About You, Tops Heaven, No Use in Crying, and Waiting on a Friend. Just fantastic stuff. I mean, can't beat it. What's going on, Agu? Good to have you. So what was funny about this was when I got it home, I was like, okay, there's one, and then there's two. I was like, why is there two? I'm like, double LP? Excuse me, guys. I was like, I don't remember them being a double. Yes, Chris. Yes, Some Girls is one I'm after for sure. I don't have it yet, but I'm quickly narrowing down the albums I'm trying to pick up. So yeah, almost got it. And I'm looking at the set list, and I'm like, that's not 2LP worthy. Like, how did they do that? So I picked it up and I'm looking at it, and it's the same album. I just got 2 copies of the same album. So of course I had to play them, cleaned them both and played them. One of them has a skip, like an infinite loop on Slave. And which is funny because it's a perfect loop. As it's playing, there's like a little bit of a beat solo that goes on, and then it infinite loops right back and right back and right back. And it just keeps going back. It's so funny. And you're listening, you're like, I don't remember this solo going on for so long, but there's no break in the rhythm. So it's really funny. But anyway, one of them has that on that side and the other side's perfect. And so I expected that if the first disc had a bad spot on side 1, then the second disc probably has a bad spot on side 2. And what the person was doing was playing one and then playing the other. An old trick, right? But turned out the second disc was flawless. So basically somebody upgraded it and then just kept the old disc anyway for really no reason other than just to have 2 of them. So now I've got 2 copies of that, one flawless and one not so. So, and I'll probably do the same thing. I'll probably just keep them also. This was a huge score. I didn't expect to see this album there at all. Like, I was super shocked. But here they are, the Stray Cats with Built for Speed. This album is so good. It's one of those that I just keep replaying and replaying and replaying every time. Like, I can't listen to it once. I just get it. I flip it. I play it again. So Brian Setzer and the Stray Cats. Telling Mrs. Bubs you're after Some Girls. Ha! Look at that. I've been touring now, and a guy on YouTube has been streaming the concerts. Ooh, I don't know if that's allowed. So yeah, there you go. So on this one, here's the back there with all of them looking quite glamorously punk. And it's got Rock This Town, Built for Speed, Rev It Up and Go, which is great. Stray Cat Strut, which is maybe the best song ever written. Little Miss Prissy and Rumble in Brighton, which is also fantastic. Runaway Boys, Lonely Summer Nights, Double Talking Baby, You Don't Believe Me, Genie, 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 and Baby Blue Eyes. Just so good. So good. That's about right. Oh, it's so good, man. This album rocks. I love it, love it, love it. So then, and these were all just like a couple of bucks. I couldn't believe it. And then this album, I blew my mind to find this album there. It's a compilation album. They were trying to kind of do something special, but this album is only like a year old. I think technically it says 2 years, but I think it came out like during COVID or whatever, so it didn't really release properly. But this one is like, I've looked at buying this album constantly at about $30 up to $40 to $50, depending on the version of this album. So this is Honk by the Rolling Stones, their latest compilation album. And it's got Start Me Up, Brown Sugar, Miss You, Tumbling Dice, Just Your Fool, Fool to Cry, Angie, Beast of Burden, It's Only Rock and Roll. It just goes on and on. Mixed Emotions, Harlem Shuffle, Emotional Rescue, Wild Horses. It's just great. So what they tried to do was kind of pick a song from every studio album that they had. Some of it wins, some of it doesn't, but it's pretty good. And it's got a nice little gatefold, double LP set. And I didn't know which version it was going to be. So when I saw it there, I froze because this album is so new, but it was in the used section. So it must have been picked up in that same collection that those other Stones albums were in. And so I'm looking at it. It was still in an album jacket and an outer sleeve. I was like, man, well, I wonder if there's two commemorative editions of this, and then there's a plain black. And that's just of the double LP. I could tell it wasn't a trifold, so it's the double LP. There's another version that has like a bunch of live and BBC recordings and all this other stuff. I'm not interested in any of that. This was the version I wanted. But there's 2 or 3 color variations. There's a straight black, and then Walmart came out with a blue exclusive on pre-order only. It never made it to the shelves. And Target came out with a red exclusive that was pre-order only and didn't go to the shelves either. And so I was like, if this is red or blue, red is more sought after. It's like $40 to $50 range. And the blue one you can usually get for about 35, 40, 45 bucks. So I was really hoping for it to be either one of those. And lo and behold, when I got it out, it was the blue. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it. Like I said, double LP set, translucent blue. Hey. Super happy for 15 bucks. I couldn't believe it. And flawless, not a scratch on it. And I checked because I said, man, if somebody's selling a brand new record, I mean, that means somebody was collecting less than a year ago and is already selling out their collection. Like that usually is not the case. So I thought maybe it was damaged. So I checked it over real good, looked it over. It was perfect for 15 bucks. And I got the commemorative blue edition. So yeah, the Walmart exclusive on this one. So super happy with that. That's the haul, y'all. I hope y'all like that. I know it's a little quicker tonight, but just kind of wanted to get through it. And, we can talk about a couple other things as far as records go, but that's what I picked up. So I hope y'all like that. For me, the major wins were this one. Picking that up was a big deal. And also getting my 2 most recent albums I picked up just today, the 9 Lives and Taylor Swift for my wife and the 9 Lives for me. But I was enjoying it all. The Who album is the one I'm going to play right after we're done here because it's just, you could play it constantly. It's so good. It's so good. Thank you. Thanks, Jackson. Yeah, sweet. And the El Camino, I've been waiting for this thing to show up for like 3 months. So with it finally coming in, that was a big win. Very happy with that. And it sounds fantastic as you would imagine and expect. So those are the big wins. This was the big loss because it's warped and I got to send it back. Hopefully it's not a big deal. I kind of was irked because it's cheap. It's like a $20 album. So like, you should just refund my money. They asked me for pictures. I sent them pictures, and you should just refund it. I sent you the pictures. It's warped. It's unplayable. But now I got to go through the hassle of mailing it back. They did send a shipping label. Well, I could go through the hassle of mailing it back, then wait another 4 or 5 days for them to receive it. Then they'll send me an email, ask me what I want to do, return it or exchange it. I'll say exchange it. And I'm telling you, it took like 2 weeks for it to come the first time. If I'm sitting here waiting 2 weeks and the next record comes warped 2, I'm going to be pissed. And I'm going to tell them, no, I'm not sending this back. And you're going to refund my money, and we'll see what they do. So, but for right now, I'm being the nice guy. But we'll see. We'll see if they turn me on that. So that's it. So hope you guys, and of course, probably the best album I picked up. And it's funny because it was one of the cheapest ones, Stray Cats. So, all right, guys, we'll catch you next time in BUB'S World. Remember to, what did I say? Oh, listen to a record. It won't destroy it. There you go. We'll catch you next time. Thanks everybody for joining me and for being on this quick live, and for everybody watching on a replay. We appreciate you. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.